Down tonight as the White House and the newly Democratic Congress argue about whether to fund a border wall. The border, as of right now, as you know, remains porous. And yet, instead of fighting illegal immigration or its effects in the labor market, the corporate left is trying to crush anyone who dares name the problem.
First of all, he calls them illegal immigrants. There's no such thing as illegal immigrant, sir. No illegal human being in the planet.
Don't put the camera on Maria because he's just talking to the camera. She's saying to somebody.
General Kelly, there is no such thing as an illegal human being. How many times do we have to say this? Get your grammar correct, okay?
What you're watching is the Praetorian Guard for the ruling class. Meanwhile, Facebook, speaking of, has been warning users not to refer to suspected California cop killer Gustavo Perez Arriaga as, quote, an illegal immigrant, though, of course, that's exactly what he is. The company says using the term is a form of hate speech. Elvira Salazar is a former Florida congressional candidate, and she joins us tonight. Thanks so much for coming on. Why do you think the debate almost immediately moves to what language we're allowed to use and away from the core question about what the border should look like?
Well, because I think what both parties, or specifically the Democrats, are trying to do is just divert the attention. And I would like to tell you is that I don't care how they are called. Our care is how they're treated. Right. I live in Miami, Florida. There are, I would say, 500,000 illegals. I know them very well. I can call them undocumented. I can call them illegal. They're people. Most of them are wonderful people. Not every legal is a criminal, but those who are criminals have nothing to do among us. They should be kicked out immediately. And that's my fear, that sometimes the cleaning ladies, the good hombres, not the bad hombres, and the gang members like this guy, Gustavo Perez Arriaga, they're all bundled together, and that is where the problem comes.
Who gets to decide who gets to stay and who has to leave? Like, who gets to decide which laws get to be ignored? Does the public have a role in that?
Well, I think the public and Hispanics, and I thank you very much for allowing me to come to your show and tell you what millions of Hispanics think. And we're a diverse community, but I assure you that what I'm telling you right now is that many millions of Hispanics think the way I am saying and or that I'm expressing myself. And reality is that Hispanics do not want to be illegals. Hispanics don't care if we have a wall or not. We can have a wall, which is what we have the shutdown right now, with very big gates, because illegals do not want to be illegals. Who wants to have that stigma? Who wants to raise your kids in darkness? What illegals want is to have a piece of paper, not citizenship, legality that would allow them to buy homes, pay taxes, raise their kids, be able to go back home, and then come back if they're needed.
Well, that sounds like a pretty good deal. Why wouldn't they want that? But I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, what about everyone else? What about the American citizens who already live here of all races? Shouldn't they have the determining decision in this? Like, why isn't it up to them what happens? Why do people from other countries here illegally get a say at all? I'm confused.
Well, you mean, I think that's why we have a government, and that's why
right, exactly.
The country elected President Trump, whom I think is not a racist, whom I think has dared to do what other presidents, Republicans and Democrats, did not dare in the last 30 years, to say right. Enough is enough. Let's do something, whether it's a wall or steel slats, right? That's the new word, or drones or satellites or more border patrol, and that is fine. Because I repeat, we do not want to come in illegally. We want to come in legally and do the jobs that the marketplace requires, which is that's why I'm saying. And those who are here and have been here for more than, let's say, 15 years, and that is 7.7 million people out of the 11, I believe just because we are a very benevolent country, should give them some type of legality so they can continue doing the job that they have been doing for the last 14 years.
Can I ask you one quick question?
They do not have a criminal record. Yes.
So since we don't know if those numbers are real or not, because we have no idea how many people are here illegally, why wouldn't we have a nationwide effort to figure out what at least the number is? Like, why not ask that on the census? Why not dispatch some kind of federal record keeping force out to figure out, like, how many people are living here illegally? Why is that wrong to know that?
Who says that it's wrong?
Well, Democrats
There's nothing wrong with that. Well, you know, the Democrats have played political football with Hispanics for 30 years.
I noticed.
And I was a congressional candidate, and there's empirical evidence that's not that I am a Republican and I don't like them, is that there is empirical evidence that demonstrates to you and to your audience that Hispanics that Democrats have played political football with my community.
Yeah,
and there are two very important examples that I need to point out, so then you'll see that I'm not being biased.
Look, you don't need to sell me at all, but hit me with them fast.
2009, President Obama said to Spanish television, I worked there for 35 years, that in the first year of his presidency, he was going to give us an immigration reform law. He invested that political capital in Obamacare. First lie. Second lie. 1996, President Clinton signed one of the strictest immigration laws on paper today.
Huh. All right. Interesting. Elvira, thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Elizabeth Warren became the first Democrat to enter the 2020 race officially. Does anyone want her to be president of the United States? That's a real question. We'll ask it ahead. Plus, new documents suggest the Steele dossier, may have been synthetic from day one, part of a fly trap that apparently worked. That's next.